What's up, weirdos?
Just say, what is Target gonna look like? Well, it's gonna be a circle, and then inside is gonna be a circle but filled in. Like someone made a multi-million-dollar, like, you know, because that represents Target, but it's so simple. But how was that decision so fucking simple, like that? Just so fucking simple. Just, I don't know.
Should we start soon?
Yeah, we can start soon. Yeah.
Alright. What were we what do you want to talk about? Creativeness?
Well, I guess that makes, because I was, you know, the Target symbol. I was talking about that's kind of a little bit creativity, because it's like that creative decision, just something so simple like that.
Yeah.
But yet that represents a multi-million-dollar company. At least I think they're multi-million dollars. But it's just something. Billions. It's just weird. Something so simple like that is just represented. But that was the decision they made. That was a fucking decision they made to make it that simple. It's just weird.
What's up, world? Welcome to the Weirdness. I am Brian Target, here with my best friend
Rob Biddle,
and we are trying out something new. We're in the car right now.
Yeah. Whenever I say Rob Biddle, I hate saying, for some reason, I don't hate it, but I just feel like it's a weird thing to say Biddle. You know, Robert Biddle. Like, it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't, it rolls. I'm not sure if what sounds better. Robert Biddle? Like, Robert Biddle or Rob Biddle? I don't know.
I like Rob Biddle.
Rob Biddle. I think it's a little more, I guess, on point or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like it's just more of a staple or something if I have a name instead of just Robert. I don't know what I'm saying, but anyway. I think we were talking about creativity. We were talking about movies earlier. I think we should really get into that, because we were really talking about like what really makes us just want to be creative. Like, there's something in each and every one of us that wants to just do that and go to, and you know, some will go to the end of the world for it, some won't. You know. Yeah.
Why do you feel like you want to be creative? Have you ever tried to track it down?
That's what I've been kind of doing recently. Is like, I always knew I liked it in the past. You know, like, you know, growing up, you know, like even in middle school or high school, you know, you'd always like to go in art class, and I really like to go in do that too. But I never, at that point, I still didn't know what I was doing. Like, you know, didn't really think about any of that stuff until, I don't know, maybe like after college, where I was in certain situations where I didn't have a creative job or didn't have any kind of creative outlet, and it was just it just didn't like resonate with me. And then every time I tried to do something where I could just be actively creative, I found myself just most happy. So I was just like, all right, I guess that's just the way.
What do you like to be most creative in?
Yeah. I personally, anything that can be interactive in multi way, or perceived in multi kind of dimensional ways, where, like, you know, I've always enjoyed watching, watching films as a kid, and more recently kind of like got into music. Anything that kind of has, like, you mess with infinity a little bit, you know, where, you know, if you were doing a film, you have like really infinite possibilities. Like, it's kind of like your drawing board. Anything that's just really, you can kind of just go wild with it, I guess. You know, it's a freeing feeling. You know, where if I don't really utilize that, I just feel like I'm not fully not expressing, like fully giving my brain its all or something. You know, It's just, I don't know. It's more recent where I'm just feeling like it's just the way it is, and if I do anything else, then it's just like I don't know. I have no idea what to do, so I might as well just continue doing what I'm doing. You know,
it's almost like breathing.
It's just like kind of like going with it's just, if I were to go with it, it just so happens that this is the way it's laying out. Yeah, I guess. What about you? Like, when did you, like, say, you know, same questions and everything, when did you really find yourself, okay, like, I'm a creative person? Like, you know, what was that like where I knew, like, you knew you were gonna be like that?
It's weird because, like, I've only started trying to, like, consider myself creative.
Yeah.
But I've always been, I feel like, some sort trying to be. Like, when I was a kid, even I can remember when I was, like, 10 or 11, I was, like, writing short stories on the computer and stuff.
Yeah. Did you ever
that only I wrote and showed like my parents and stuff like that.
Yeah. Did you ever figure out like why though? Like when you were a kid, like if you went back to being a little kid like that, like what were like the main drives, or you just felt the need to do it, kind of thing? You just
There was
felt
a
like that
little
was
bit
it?
of the natural need to do it, and there was a little escapism, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, with like my parents had a lot of problems and stuff, so like I would use like writing or like making little short
You
films.
kind of make sense of what you were.
Yeah, like
experiencing.
or like just escaping, just because like it was like I was creating a different world for myself.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, once you, I
It's
mean, you
interesting, I
have,
thought of it like that.
yeah.
That's kind of the first time.
But is there anything else, like, you know, even recent times, where like you find yourself doing? You really have a really large interest in film, and just that whole process. Like, is there?
The film thing I see more as like it's just some kind of drug. Like it's something
Yeah.
I've always had my whole life, that I've like always studied films. Like I'm obsessed over.
Yeah.
Like, and again, like another escapism tool.
Yeah.
You know, I just immersed myself in, you know, films, studying films, reading about films, watching like documentaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
On like how films are made, and like kind of follow directors almost like sports teams, like in a weird way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And had always want to inspire to, you know, make films and do that someday.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of the times as kids.
Yeah. You know what I like? There's one thing I really like about films is that you can pretty much involve. Well, it's like more than one sense, because you know music, you know, or if you go a live show, it's more of a visual thing. But movies is something special where you can sequence visuals and sound and have them intertwine in certain you know, in certain ways where it makes more than one thing.
Like I live for those moments when I like in a movie theater, like a packed movie theater,
Yeah.
and there's like those special moments where like acting, cinematography, lighting, music, editing, the right like camera movement, like all put together in this special just one piece, and like it almost like as an audience member you almost like forget to breathe, because like you're so immersed in just like
it's like a different
the sequence, you know, like it's all coming together perfectly and you're like completely immersed in it.
Yeah.
Those are the moments that I would like love to aspire to like do
Yeah.
once or twice in a movie, like, because that's pretty special.
Yeah.
To be able to do that type of stuff.
And that is a true. See, you know, it is. I wouldn't say escape's the right word. Like that is a true way to really immerse yourself in a different world in a full way. You know, because you know, like you know, as we're like interfacing the world right now, we're using we're using visuals and we're using hearing. Well, a bunch of more things, but generally you can do that. But you can also simulate that in a movie that take you to a whole new world. Take you to. I don't know. I just find that magical too. Like that's where really the magic
that's
is.
where I
with the
found like,
senses.
I don't know, like in horror movies or like monster movies I was big into, or like fantasy, like, you know, fantasy sci-fi stuff. It was always like stuff that put you in a different perspective of the world, like in a different place in the world, other than like a drama, romance, or comedy. Even like it's very like grounded in like real life, and so there's like even like a horror movie that's supposed to be grounded in real life, like it creates its own world in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I've always like been attracted to that.
Yeah. I find that super interesting too. Like that's the best feeling when you're in a when you're watching
Tarantino's movies are like that too.
Oh
Which
yeah.
is like you're like in.
I remember this is a while ago where we were working at those who don't know, me and Brian used to work at an amusement park called Clemson Park in New Jersey, and I think after work one day, like I was like tired.
I can't even know where the story's going. It's weird.
No, like I was tired. Like it was like, you know, because you would work out. It was in the sun all day. It was like 90 degrees. It was like one of them hot July summer days, I think. Because I think the movie, and then I think everyone after work was like, let's go to the movies. And I think you and a few other people. We were in the Summerdale movie theater, and we were gonna see Inglourious Bastards. And at the time, I had no idea, because you're the one who really introduced me to films. Throughout my whole life. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't know about
films and as you watched movies before.
Yeah, I watched a lot of movies, and there was a lot of movies that I wasn't allowed to watch. So I wasn't kind of immersed in the world of cinema in a way that I was. I don't know. I didn't know any of the classics. I didn't know. I didn't really think twice about it at the time. I think. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't know it was a Quentin Tarantino film. I mean, it could have been that. I'm not sure. But
yeah.
I didn't know what I was going to see.
Yeah.
Inglourious Bastards. So, okay, let's go see it. And it was the best thing, because immediately just took me in a different world, and I was gone the whole time. And then afterwards, I forgot I was working all day. I forgot I was tired and stuff like that.
You know,
I was
the last
literally
time that happened that I remember. I don't really remember that much as well. I remember the time, but I don't remember that experience. But you know what experience like that we had similar together as well?
What?
When we went to go see Interstellar.
Oh man!
You couldn't even move.
Oh my god! I couldn't even move. I couldn't even. That was a good example. That's a good example. It's just you go in okay, some movies where it's okay, you don't get in it as much, so you're kind of disappointed.
Fun. It's entertainment.
It's entertainment, but
Interstellar
had me. It took me a second, but it had me once all that stuff went, just the whole movie.
That was another example of
amazing.
Imagery, cinematography, lighting, and music.
And it also interacted with your brain that no other movie, in a way, kind of did. It made you understand a certain kind of. I don't know. It was amazing, and I was just taken away. And at the end, they explained this story so well that never really resonated with me. It was a very multi-dimensional movie, fifth dimensional movie.
I love those movies that come together at the end like that. It's a constant confusion, and then at the end it's just flip puzzle piece.
Yeah.
Another movie totally different spectrum, but Saw, the original Saw is like that.
Yeah.
I love the original Saw, where it's just the end of that last 5 minutes of that movie is I remember you watch it now and it's not as crazy because you know the ending.
Yeah.
But that first time I watched that movie and that last 3 minutes of the movie happened, I was just wow. Because it was just whoa, I didn't expect any of that.
Yeah. It just totally takes your. It's weird how it's almost you're transporting within someone else's idea or something. It's amazing, one done the right way.
It's insane.
But that's also
these fucking planes, man.
Yeah. Well, for those who don't know, did we tell anyone? We're outside right now. We're in front of we're just kind of intermediate. We're kind of killing some time.
Close to the Nashville airport.
Yeah. Close to the Nashville airport. We're trying to kill some time, so we thought we'd do a podcast. So we got we're out in the open. A lot of loud cars, a lot of planes.
So we apologize for that, but I feel like we really wanted to have this talk.
Yeah.
So we needed to get it done.
But I think, there's an upcoming project that we're currently working on, and we were really trying to.
That's getting us sparked a lot, just inspiration, listening to things, watching new stuff.
Yeah. So we're kind of we were watching some videos earlier about certain certain directors and the whole creative process of movie making. So
have we really talked about our movie not a movie that we actually made a feature film?
No, I don't think we really truly introduced it to the podcast at all.
Well, there's 2013.
It was
we made a feature film, and it did get distribution, which was nice.
Yeah, it was
but we haven't really done anything big since, and we're starting that back up again. It's nice.
I think you can, you can find it on Amazon.
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon.
Yeah.
A Glot of the Possession Within, it is called.
Yeah, that was definitely that whole process, because prior to that, me and Brian we would try to make our, as kids, I think we were in middle school or something like that, we would always make our home movies. We had a digital camera, and we would have these ideas and kind of and play them out, and do it scene by scene. and cut it together later. This is like in the infancy of like computer
But
editing.
I feel like it was weird because like when we were making Glada, like we actually did the whole process, the writing, the casting, the pre-production work. Everything we followed probably to the T. I mean, on a small scale, we hired people we didn't know.
Yeah, we had a
we had a
budget.
Yeah, we had a budget and things like that. So that was really cool. And it was like weird, but like when we were shooting it and we were actually into the making of it, it didn't feel any different than what we were doing as kids.
No, like it held that magic of that freedom where like you go set up a scene or something like that, and you're kind of like you're just having fun, but also at the same time, kind of like just playing like we were as kids, just messing around.
We should probably introduce, like, we haven't really like talked about our film interests. Like we have two different spectrums that I think collide very well in our team. As friends, and too like I mainly write and direct, and
I'm really interested in like cinematography also. Well, anything I feel like I'm a very visual person, and I love and for some reason me and cameras, I really resonate with just that operation in photography, but in motion. I always had like an appreciation for that, telling a story visually, because I have a graphic design background. I think we were talking about that a while back. But
it was weird because like I always thought, even before we became, because like when we were making our kid movies, like I was kind of being a director and we were both just acting in them. Harry was like setting up the camera and stuff. We had a little bit to do with it, but like it was weird. Like but even back then, like when I was like studying film and like wanting to be a director, I always felt like, and probably a lot of directors or people that think differently, but like I feel like the director and the cinematography, the director of cinematography, like have to be like on the same page, like very closely, like work
that
together.
Ties into your vision. It ties into your whole visual aspect of the whole movie, and that's, I mean, without the visual, you don't have a movie.
And it's weird that like you being my best friend now, that's kind of just the way it's worked out. Which is strange.
It's I mean, you sparked that interest in me because there was a time, I think, you were the one who showed me all these movies. Like you're the one who kind of showed me all that, and a lot of these stories.
About, like, I was told like to show it, like making you notice little things.
That's where I was getting. I was, you were the one who introduced me to these movies that are like amazing. Just like multi-dimensional movies that are. I mean,
some of them probably weren't amazing.
Well, like it's funny, but
Evil Dead is amazing on its own level.
Like you're like these, like they're like pieces of art. Each one of them, and you showed me how a film can be art in every single way. And you were showing me how there was a dramatic scene, and you were like, look at the camera shake, and that right there, I was like, wow, the camera is shaking. And I think that makes sense because what's going on is intense, and that kind of, I don't know, that for some reason put, like, you can put these emotions, like these emotions,
the camera
and set,
and
set them in these pictures that just move. But you can create emotion from that, and that is, you can take that in many different ways and manipulate that. And
it's like that video I sent you about the difference of camera movement, like how it could affect the mood of a scene, like pushing in on a dramatic moment, and pulling out, like to make it seem grand.
I don't know, and just being able to tie that aspect of communication visually.
It's like
emotion.
A language.
It's just like,
it is like a language.
It's just like this
because you're speaking.
Because
like if you don't set it up the right way and use the right language, the audience won't understand.
You're not gonna. It's gonna be gibberish. It has to literally talk with what's happening and let that express fully in visual form, so that it relates back to the story. And they're constantly a push and pull.
I love the moment, like, not to switch I love the moment, like, when I told you about the short story. Like, I like getting people excited. Like when, like, an idea that I had, like, that I think is just, like, I don't know, not like a dumb idea, but just like, it's an idea that I had. But then, like, when I say it to someone, like, when I said it, you're like, wow.
Well, you
woke up at it,
You told me about a week ago, and prior to that, I've never heard you talk about it. So I was just like...
I had that idea that day.
I was just like, wait, what? I think I did a double take. I was like, wait, like what? and you were just telling me about it, and you were like, I thought of this today, and well, I don't want to tell the story because I thought, but
Tell a story.
What the
Yeah, just tell the story.
do you want me to say the name of the
Yeah,
project?
tell them your story.
You were telling me, like, I want to make I got this story. I was like, okay, what's the story? I'm thinking, like, you were just messing around or something, and you're like, it's called the Burberry Man. It's about this man, there's some kind of, you were explaining the story about it, but there's some kind of story, some kind of, like, almost, what's the word
myth.
I'm looking for? Myth about this man and this house and how that kind of relates to, there's like kind of like this story from you were kind of relating how it's kind of like not I wouldn't say Goonies, like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Kind of having this
like it kind of like very 80s, late 70s, early 80s kind of vibe.
where it's like a story of these kids, or like these these kids, or not kids, they were like teens.
They're it's
high school.
Basically, the basic story is like a group of high schoolers have to get together and do a project the project theme is like Halloween.
Yeah.
So they get together, and one person like introduces them like the myth, 'cause, like, there's a small town they live in, and it's a myth, in this small town, and it's called the Burberry Man, and the Burberry Man lives on Burberry Hill, basically.
Yeah.
And but like the myth is that he takes trick-or-treaters on Halloween night, and he basically turns them into like scarecrows on his lawn for decoration.
Yeah.
And these kids do a project on it, and they go to his house, and then mysterious things start to happen to him.
Yeah. But just like,
That's
I
like
was immediately caught off by the name. Like, I don't think you even explained it, and you said the Burberry Man. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm like, is that? I thought that was already, like, that sounded like, a story, or it sounded like, but it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it resonated with me, where it sounded like it was in its own place. Where like that's a story already.
Yeah.
Like, that's a story. That's a name. That's like, it's kind of like Halloween, the movie Halloween, or like Evil Dead. It's like that. It's just that.
Yeah.
Like, it's I don't know how to explain that, but it's just that idea, the Burberry Man. It just stands out on its own.
Yeah.
It
It was
stands its own
interesting.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're shooting now.
Yeah.
That's where we got a casting call out. It's July now. So, and we're gonna shoot in late October.
Yeah. And
So that we can really get that Halloween vibe, and there's colors and that look. I want that like original, like, just like middle America Halloween looking, atmosphere to it.
Well, I mean, you've wanted to shoot in the fall a long time now. Like, I think ever since
It's
even
a dream.
even shooting in Glada, like, you had this idea of like this fall look
and
with the colors of the trees that are different.
We shot in January in New Jersey, so it was dead
But-
and desolate, which ended up making the movie look better. I feel like
that
made sense more for that story.
But after that, like, you had this idea, like, I want to shoot in the fall.
Yeah, based on Halloween
and I think
my feature film Night of Thrills is really like
based
a dream.
in the fall as well.
Based in the fall, and it's about a haunted house, and supervisors at an amusement park that set up a haunted house, and things start to go wrong and stuff like that.
What do you think about because I've always gravitated to the fall too when it came to like that aesthetic.
It's just cinematic.
Like, it's very, it warms the picture up in a way, but not in a way that.
But it could also be
like
cold.
Like, not in a way of like a
choose.
beach warm, but kind of like it's got these warm tones but also underlying aspects of like mysterious.
Something is on the way. I always feel like about fall.
It's this transition. It's this. I like transitions. And now weird thing we're thinking about it in a broad aspect. Transitions, like, goddamn plane. Transitions. That's, I don't know. For some reason, transitions are really important in every kind of art.
Yeah.
In how, I guess, how
I'm excited
two ideas relate
to work with, because I mean, we already got some people coming involved in everything that we've worked with in the past, which is nice.
Yeah. We're trying.
But I'm excited to see. I'm excited to get behind the camera with you and see how, like, you envision fall too, like, and how what you bring to the palette of what to see. Like, it. Yeah. I like us being able to yin and yang back and forth about it.
Yeah. Well, I want to kind of. This is the first time I think I'm discussing this with you right now. But ever since I've been doing real estate photography. Yeah. And understanding, like, the aspects of that. And, like, I think we were talking earlier about how how
we should start driving back.
Yeah, we should. Yeah,
talking?
we can keep talking.
Yeah.
We're gonna start driving because we actually got to go back to work after this. But I think I don't want to get into that whole thing. You want me to get into it?
Yeah, well, just until we get back. Yeah.
So I think I was just discussing this before, where my real estate photography really helped me understand video a little bit more, because I've done a few video projects after working with real estate photography. And the first time doing real estate photography kind of kicked my ass, because I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew there was something in my head telling me that I feel like I should do it. Like, do this. Like, you're going to make some money off it. You can't hurt to do it.
Yeah.
So the first time really kicked my ass, and then really after the next few times I learned from my mistakes, because before I would always just take pictures, and hoping one of the pictures were going to be good enough to present to the client.
Right.
And then I realized I don't need to take all these pictures. I can decide what to look at and know that it's good and take the photo and not have to take a million pictures and sort through them.
That's interesting.
So I almost economized the way I work, but at the same time I felt like every house was different. So every in a way every situation in film's different.
Yeah.
And so I took that as, okay, I'm the DP, I'm the director of photography of this house. There's a play going on this house, and I'm gonna shoot it. I'm gonna film this house in such a way that people are gonna want to see it.
That's interesting.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm the DP of the house, so I decide what looks good. I decide where all the decisions are gonna be made to make this house sell. And I feel like I did a good job at that, but at the same time, that really opened the door to cinema in a way where I could understand, okay, there's a situation going on in a scene. How can I capture that in the best emotional way, in the best possible visual way possible, but not at the same time shoot the whole room a million times and hope something sticks.
Yeah.
It's like literally forcing yourself to make a decision to make this make sense of what's going on in the story. And it's revolving that around the room is important. But what I've really learned is, because before, when shooting in Galata, I feel like I was locked, I wouldn't say I was locked in, but I didn't really expand myself to wider shots that really opened and expressed the area that I was shooting in. But now I feel like I wanted to bring to your attention with this new one. Doing real estate photography made me realize that doing wide shots, expressing the area of where a scene is taking place in a wholesome, is super important. I've always, and then going back to cinema and really appreciated some wide shots, especially in Kubrick's films, where they just wide, symmetrical, grand shots. And to me, that's I don't know. I really I think there's a power to that can be expressed in a film to enhance it. That I don't know. I kind of wanted to bring that by you. I know.
Yeah,
I
there's
really
a few,
like a lot of wide shots.
with the fall. I really want the fall to encapsulate the characters.
Yeah.
In some of these shots, especially some of the shots going up to the house.
Yeah.
Or them walking around the side streets of their town and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like maybe I'll ramble on a little bit too much, but
no, I'm enjoying it.
But yeah, this is an exciting project, and we've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, and
more excited to get back in it.
Excited to get back in it, because for a few years we didn't really have access to this kind of communication and collaboration.
And what's very interesting is that we're hoping that through this podcast that our audience on our podcast will enjoy some of the short movies we've been making too.
Yeah, and we definitely want to submit them to film festivals and get it out there, get out in the world, so that everyone can kind of see and hopefully kind of grow this kind of community and grow this kind of creative process to.
Yeah, and I hope that some of the people that are listening or hanging out with us will join us. In that journey,
because we'll definitely throughout social media, we'll probably definitely keep the world updated on
the behind the scenes,
and
things like that,
the process and what's next and new ideas. So it's hopefully it's It's something that can grow to a greater potential
I
that
hope so, man.
we have yet to really experience. So it's gonna be hopefully it's gonna be a great experience. And well, I mean, it already is a great experience.
Yeah,
I'm having a
loving
blast
doing these podcasts. Yeah, I love doing these podcasts. I hope that even during the making of the movie and like our other projects that we're still doing the podcast and through those projects will be very interesting talks. But well, if you guys liked hanging out with us, definitely like we said, follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at the Weirdness Pod.
Or definitely search the Weirdness podcast and something will come up. Use Google.
Hopefully.
If you're a simple one of those person that just type something in Google, we'll definitely be there.
Hopefully.
I mean, I think I did a Google search. I typed in the Weirdness podcast.
Oh, they come up.
Twitter comes up.
Oh, sweet.
YouTube. So.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. Again, I'm Brian Target.
And Rob Middle.
And we'll see you guys later.
See you later. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.